todo ese movimiento. Testigo a tercera. Skaters on baseball. Yeah, you know the name.
Hey, this is Grant McCrae. You're listening to Skaters on Baseball.
Boom! And there's our new intro, kids. I just did that this morning, actually, right before work. And hello, everybody out there. I'm Schmitty, right next to Christian Cooper. We're bringing you Skaters on Baseball, and this week we're going every night. We're doing 6 nights in a row, maybe 7. Who knows what we're going to do, but we're going tonight with a friend of mine that is, I met him skateboarding, and he came to Thrasher from North Bay, and he wanted to do some filming for us. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, he's the deluxe filmer. He's filming with Booznits, all the boys. Then the next thing you know, the guy's doing a documentary with Jeremy Fish over at Oracle for a whole month. This is going to be a fun one tonight. We're going to talk baseball. We're going to talk skateboarding. We're going to talk Bay Area, filming, editing. So much to discuss. Here's my homie, Jeremy McNamara.
Yo,
Hey.
Are we live?
We are live.
You guys should I put headphones on too?
If you want. Dude, are you out in the shed that Camfoosh built?
Yeah, that he helped me do the foundation.
Nice.
I'm gonna get on this headphone.
Dude, let's get it proper.
Hey,
Look like a podcaster or something.
I got my little studio headphones here.
How's it going, bro? Thanks for joining us. Where are you in? Like
I'm in Petaluma.
Petaluma now. Okay.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
But you've had your whole life in north of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Pretty much. I lived in Berkeley till I was in 5th grade, and then moved to Novato. But I was born in the city, man.
San Fran, what hospital?
I lived my first year of life there.
What hospital?
I think UCSF somewhere. I don't know.
I love when people don't know where they were born. That's my favorite.
I was born in the city.
I was born at Kaiser, right around the corner from Wallenberg.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I was born in Kaiser in Redwood City.
So is Grindline actually doing that park in Petaluma? Is that happening or not happening?
As far as I know, it's happening.
Okay.
I don't know when, but the plans look pretty rad. They should. I would imagine it's going to get going any time now, right? I mean,
yeah, I hope so.
They've been talking about it for a minute.
Yeah. Well, the old park in Petaluma, I think, was it was ahead of its time, because when they built it, it was terrible. But then all the young kids coming up learned how to rip it and make it look like it was skatable. But that park's really crappy, right? It's gnarly.
Yeah, I haven't even skated there once since I moved here, and I've been here like almost 3 years.
He loves it.
I filmed him there.
Yeah.
Years ago. Yeah. It's cool.
There's been some weird shit that's gone down there. Scott Bourne had some crazy thing that he did there, right?
Oh, really? I don't know.
Way back in Nam. Every once in a while, someone will be like, I'm going to go film something at Petaluma. You're like, what are you going to do there?
Yeah.
There's that gap from where that big bank is into the other little bowl area. That gap's pretty sick.
Dude, tell us about your baseball upbringing, because if I'm not mistaken, did you just kind of get into baseball in the last few years?
So I grew up where my parents are from Boston, and they're both like diehard Red Sox fans, or they were. My dad was like a diehard Red Sox fan. I think he saw like some of the World Series they lost. Like it was like part of his childhood, and he kind of like gave up on it because they lost so much. And my mom kept kind of like loving the Red Sox. So I just grew up watching the Red Sox games, and I would see like how animated my mom would get about it. Like just the games and how they were doing. And if they weren't doing well, she'd be pissed. Like, if we knew if the Red Sox lost, like the next day wasn't going to be a good day. And we would go to games. Like I remember going to Fenway when I was
I love that park.
But yeah, that's how I knew baseball. It's just because like mainly like my dad was like, he loves the game. He watches a lot now. He only watches the Dodgers. He likes Shohei. He just watches Shohei's
Oh, and also because they got Mookie Betts from the Red Sox, so that maybe
he loves watching Shohei. That's like
huh.
his favorite player. He's like, "You guys incredible." I'm like, "Well, there's a lot of other teams, man." But well, my mom like loved the Red Sox, so I remember in 2004. I remember that series, and I think that's like it's like burned into my memory. And I mean, I was not. I mean, that's a while ago, but I remember that because I remember like the Yankees had beat them the year before, and my mom's like, "The Yankees always fucking win," like
Man, they got a lot of tension out there.
And dude, I remember when they somehow won that series and then won the World Series, and I just remember that. Like I remember like David Ortiz, Johnny Damon, Pedro Martinez, like Kevin Millar, like all these guys. Like I just remember moments from that game, like when Jason Varitek like hit A-Rod, like I was kind of like burned into my mind, and I kind of like stopped. I don't know. I didn't really keep watching it. Like when I started skating, I was like, fuck baseball. I'm not into that. Like I wasn't really into it. And then we did this thing with Jeremy, and I was at these games, and I feel like it like weirdly brought me back to when I was a kid. And the Red Sox like made that comeback, and I started remembering all this stuff about baseball, and I kind of got really like just started watching a lot of games and getting stoked on it, and now I'm like counting down the days for the next season.
Nice.
Yeah, we
are. Like I have a family connection to it, but I'm not like you guys where I've been following it for like decades and decades. But I just remember. That series, and it reminded me of my childhood kind of, and like anything could happen. You know what I mean?
That's the beauty of baseball. It's a kid's game. So like for most of us, I mean, you have this very distinct memory of that year, and I do too, because I thought it was fantastic that they broke the curse of the Bambino, right? I mean, the Boston thing was great. But it's every time I go to the ballpark, I get like goosebumps as soon as I walk in and see the field down below. It's like it's super exciting, and it takes me back to being a kid like that too.
Dude, it's a great game. It really is. Like I try to watch other sports, like just watching a little basketball and football, but I think like the thing that reminded me about baseball is like it can turn on a dime. You know what I mean? Like it's like that drama where you could have like 5 or 6 innings where there's not shit happening. And then like the Yankees when they buzzed it and had all those errors in the last World Series, like there's just something like there's just like a real life drama, and it's a beautiful game, man. And like you think about like where it happens too, like these baseball stadiums, like I don't know, you have like Fenway or like Wrigley or Oracle Park. There's just something like larger than life about the where it happens too. It's like outside in the summer, these epic fields, like. I don't know. It's a great game.
I want to just comment on your dad. No disrespect, but since he was a Red Sox fan, he grew up with a designated hitter, so he was used to a guy that doesn't play on the field. That's probably why he appreciates Ohtani.
Dude, he had his heart broken by the Red Sox, man. Like because he told me he lived in Boston like until his 40s, and he remember he told me, he's like, Jeremy, like. When the Sox had a couple of those losses, like the whole city of Boston had to go to therapy. Like it really did a number on him because they lost for so long, and he was like so invested, and he's just like, I just can't take the emotional turmoil of this team that's like gets so close and always loses.
This is amazing.
But he still loves it though. He still loves it. It's kind of funny. Like he came over to my house to watch a game, and it gets to like the 9th inning and it's kind of close, and I'm like, where is he? And he's like in the hallway, like
pacing.
Like, yeah. You say you don't even care.
Hey, the older you get, the more, some people get into golf, but I think if you like baseball, you just get more into baseball. Like it's like you retire, you could like dream about going to all the different stadiums and just like 3 hours of kind of peaceful, like tranquility. It's pretty good. As you guys know, talk about this film, the Loyal to the Soil, right?
Yeah.
How did it all come up? I know Jeremy was asking stuff, but like, how did you get involved? And then how much time did you guys spend? You were there for all the home games of 1 month, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. So he was approached by the Giants to do the first artist residency in Major League Baseball.
So sick.
So basically he was in this like exclusive club called the Cloud Club, who he was drawing during games and created this like body of work during baseball games. And he asked me if I would make a video about it. and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to go to every game. Like work might come up, but like I'll see. Like I could at least go to like 3 or 4 or whatever. And I started going to the games, and I kind of just got sucked in. Like especially when you get to go, because we would be in like this nice place, and I could just walk around
and they gave you carte blanche because you were out in the. I saw you one night. You're out in the crowd with your whole setup and everything. Like you could go anywhere you want, really.
I mean, I didn't ask. Oh. We just kind of, I mean, I think so. Nobody told us we couldn't. I think they were just like, oh, Jeremy's doing this little art thing and he's got someone filming it. And
it came out great. The interviews with the players are amazing. I mean, the fans, like that intimate shots are great.
I know. And it's so cool. That's why, I feel like it's all sports, but like maybe baseball specifically, because I have like a connection to it, but it symbolizes it's way more than just a game. You know, I'm not trying to get on my like high horse about baseball, but like you talk to some of those families and it's like their dad, you know, was a Giants fan, and then his son's a Giants fan, and then they got like the grandson who's like going to his first game, and I don't know. I think that's what's really cool about baseball specifically, because it becomes something more than just, you know, a game.
Yeah, well, the whole film is like the sort of cultural commentary on San Francisco itself too. I found was really interesting.
Thanks, man.
I lived there. I was born there. I lived in the Bay Area up until about 25 years ago.
Here it comes.
And I moved to LA. So it's what?
I'm waiting for that.
No, I was just going to tell him, like, I bailed before the first .com boom actually happened. I moved out in 98. So.
I never saw Google buses, dude. I was out before that.
I know. I'm stoked I missed the Google bus. But yeah, I thought it was cool because I understand the trajectory of the city with the tech people and all that stuff. And so it was cool that you guys touched on it. And the way Jeremy feels about it, I mean, I've known him since the 90s too. I mean, we're not really in touch anymore, but he apparently still has the drawing table I gave him when I left town.
Oh, no way.
He still works on it as far as I know.
Yeah. He loves the city, man. Like, cause he, like in the film, like he says, like he kind of he says he owes his whole career to the city. And it's like, I feel like for him too, like he's experienced it change so much. And like all the things he loved about it kind of like, kind of start going away. And he's the passion he has is amazing. Like, you know, he's got that place in North Beach that he just kind of owns that whole neighborhood. Yeah.
Freddie walk around, free pizza, free drink, free like it's like Jeremy. He's like the little mayor of that zone. But his knowledge and his curiosity for the history of the place where he is, it's so refreshing. It's like I wish more people were like that, right? It's like you go to a place and you're like, dude, I know the first building was here. I know like the people that started this. And then, you know, like when we were doing the China Banks documentary, he was like, are you going to find out like where it was modeled after and all this old stuff? And I was like, damn, it's like,
did you guys ever find that out?
I did.
I don't remember seeing it in a documentary.
No, I found that out a little later, but it was just more a skateboarding thing. And then Ted Barrows can do his this old ledge or something maybe later.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. Like when like what was it? Arco was like, it's like I was the first person to skate China Banks, and talks about like finding it.
It's funny. People claim, you know, first to find EMB. Like you're like, I don't know.
How do you know
but
for sure?
Yeah, it's like the first kickflip or the first 50-50, right? You're like, Gons did it, but who knows? Somebody wasn't doing it in the East Coast. Like there wasn't phones and cameras all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's cool with like Jeremy because I feel like he has things that like money can't buy. I guess especially like in North Beach, like he really does have like real relationships and connections with all these different business owners, all these different people. And I don't know. I never lived in the city proper, and I don't feel like I can claim it or anything like that. But like just looking at how much he cares about that place and that place, it's cool, man. It's inspiring to see.
Was that job something that you went into thinking like, this is going to be like above my pay grade, or this is going to be easy, or like I'm nervous about certain aspects? Like What
I
was
just thought it was cool because he hit me up and he's like an artist, you know, and I feel like he's kind of just like, oh well, you're gonna do this video, like, you know, you're not gonna be able to like bring a crew or bring anyone, it'll just be you, but you can come and kind of just do whatever. And you know, it's just cool, like doing stuff like that where like it's, you know, it's just kind of experimental and you just have a good time and make a project. There's not really like parameters as much because I do a lot of stuff now. It's like so controlled, and to just do something like that and have a blank canvas is, I don't know. You just kind of see where it goes, I guess.
Does it inspire you to go out and kind of like create your own projects now that are away from being a working artist? Like what?
Dude, for sure. I mean, I think about that stuff all the time, like trying to do different films and different doc stuff and push that envelope. But I feel like at the end of the day, that's what it's about, you know. That's why at least like I got into this, and a lot of people I know got into this wasn't like to have a job, you know. I don't, you know, especially filming skateboarding. Like, I don't know if anyone like starts filming skateboarding to get a job, or at least not when I was a kid. I don't think people thought that was like was possible. I mean, maybe now kids are like think it's possible, but
I didn't go to art school to draw skateboard graphics, yet that ended up happening.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I and then it's like the greatest job that isn't really a job when you're involved with skateboarding and it sort of like pays your bills. I mean, when I worked in-house at Deluxe in the 90s, I made shit money, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved being around those guys and doing all that art for them. I mean, it's like the best job ever, you know.
Well, you quickly find out you're not getting into it for money. Like it's definitely not a high paying career, like working for these companies that are trying to like, you know, cut corners on every street.
But you never know where it'll take you, man. Like,
no, I think that's the thing.
It's good for kids, like to know, like if you fall, like, I don't know, it sounds corny, but like do some shit that you're stoked on and do it for the right reasons, and you don't know where you'll go. You know what I mean? Like that just, I think that's better. Because I remember like when I was graduating high school, I was like, I didn't really think about going to college, and that's when the Deluxe hit me up, and I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll just try and do this. But it wasn't like a money thing, you know.
Who was the toughest to film with over there, Busenitz?
Man, that's a good question.
I'm guessing he's tough to like keep up with.
He's tough to keep up with. I think there's just a lot of guys there that are like some of the best, you know, and a lot of those guys aren't like, at least back, like, I don't know, I think there's part of it where like people can be like really spontaneous, and you have to like, that's one thing that I struggled with, is I was always trying to like kind of be like really specific about where the camera was or how things were being filmed, and you know, meanwhile like someone's flying above your head doing some epic shit. And, yeah,
that's session dynamics. You know, a lot of guys are wild cards. You don't know what you're going to get. Like they'll do something one time and you missed it, and then it's like, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, I missed a lot of stuff. The first trip I ever went on, the first spot I ever went to, I missed a trick. It was Jake Donnelly like front feeling this rail, and I had never met him. I didn't know, like I don't know if you ever felt like you don't want to like pull the camera out on someone too soon. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be like, why are you expecting me to skate?
Yeah.
And he did this trick like really quickly, and I just didn't want to like take the camera out. I don't know, and I missed it.
Did he do it again?
We went back and he did it again, but
okay. I mean, if you're on a trip with people, I think it's got to be like a little bit of both sides. Like, dude ain't gonna try something gnarly if he's trying to film something if he doesn't see the filmer,
dude,
right?
You'd be surprised. There's some people that don't give a shit.
No, I know.
And you're like, like the best skaters on the earth are just like, yeah, like they're doing it either way, whether you're filming it or not.
Yeah. Damn. So Jeremy got before he did this, he did that like mural, like the Coors Light.
Yeah, he did a Coors Light mural. Yeah.
So he kind of had the in with that, and then he also did a shirt or a sweatshirt graphic. Yeah. So he's kind of been doing stuff with the Giants, like more than just once.
Because I mean, I feel like in the city, like you see his stuff all over the place, and he kind of, I think, got like just kind of got some like recognition for doing like civic projects. You know what I mean? And then that led to like, you know, other things. And I think the Giants thing is probably similar to that because even in the project, in the film, he's like, yeah, I don't really. He still's like, I still really don't love baseball. Like he wouldn't be here. Like see, I'm talking about the game. Like, I love watching the game. Like I don't think he has that love for it, but like I think he definitely like he tapped into like the bigger picture of like what I think it really stands for.
Yeah, I think he knows how important it is to the city, and like San
100%.
Francisco and the Giants in San Francisco, like Bob Melvin said it in his press conference, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, because even when they won all those World Series, like they weren't considered to be like they were like a wild card team, the first one, right?
They won the division, the first one.
They won, but they were always underdogs.
Yeah, they were always everybody around the league, the media, everybody that wasn't a Giants fan or involved in the Giants organization never gave them any credit, which makes those 3 World Series even that much better because it's like nobody expected it, nobody predicted it, and people were counting them out all the way. You know, and in 2012, I mean, let's face it, they were down 2-0 in Cincinnati. They came back and won that series. And then they were down to St. Louis and they came back and won that series. And they ended up winning the World Series, sweeping it in 4 games, which was just nuts. So, I mean, I feel like so much of the tradition in San Francisco has kind of faded away over the years, but the Giants are a long-standing tradition in San Francisco, and they've maintained. And you know, there were times where they almost moved away, they almost left town, and then somebody stepped in to rescue the franchise and keep it in SF, and the city benefits from it. You know,
for sure.
So
no, I totally agree. Which is
Do you like going to the games better, or do you like watching them on TV?
Well, dude, I was actually talking to someone about this, like some random dude at the dog park the other day. We were like talking about baseball, and I was thinking about it, and I was like thinking about that Cloud Club. Like people pay all this money to watch the baseball game from there, but like you can't really. It's not really that great of a view of the game. It's like in left field,
high up,
but it's not. But the point I was thinking about, I was like, you know, it's kind of almost like if you can't get like a good seat, it's almost, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it depends on the game.
I think when you're like new to the game, watching the game, especially with our announcers, it explains a lot. Like they're teaching you basically, like this is why that happened. This is what's going on. So you get a bunch of knowledge that you can learn real quick and figure out some stuff. Whereas if you're in the stadium, you're like, hey, what was that? Why did he get to go to second base? Wait, what's going on? You know, like, and you don't know all the things. So it's good to get like the roots of the knowledge, and then, but like being outside at a game and just having some peanuts or a drink or whatever. And just like, it's so great. I go to like a lot.
I know you live right by. I mean, it is sick though, because you see like when you can see up close what these guys are doing, it's pretty fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like you see how fast that ball's going and how accurate how like small that strike zone really is and how hard it is to hit that ball. I mean, there's only a few people on the planet that can do that. You know what I mean? So seeing it in person, when you can really see it up close, is pretty insane. Like if I could get a good seat, like, I mean, I'm going to go to some games this season for sure.
Well, think about this. I mean, there's 30 teams in the major leagues, and they all carry a 25-man active roster. That's not that many people, and that's like basically the elite league of the world. Nobody's even on that level. So, yeah, you're right. It is a very limited number of people that have that ability, that talent.
Yeah,
you know? It's pretty amazing. I was up there for skate day, and they gave Jeremy's hoodie they were giving out that day at the park. So I grabbed one of those when I was there. It was a lot of fun. And at Oracle, there aren't really any bad seats. I mean, we were sitting all the way down the right field line in the second deck at the very end. It's still a great place to watch a game from. You know, I think the atmosphere of the crowd and the banter and the sound of the game and the fresh air, all of it, it's like, yeah, I don't have to be right down behind home plate or right behind the dugout. Like I can enjoy the game anywhere here, right?
You do pick up on a lot of. It's interesting because I feel like you do pick up on a lot of details that like you wouldn't get at home, right? Like certain things you're not going to necessarily hear through the TV, but then there's stuff like because if you're watching on TV, you can really see up close like all the plays, and you can see like the athleticism like super super clearly. But I agree with you. Then there's stuff that like you can't really, unless you're there, you're not really gonna like feel it. Like I remember being there and like they were booing like the craziest boo I heard next to like the Dodgers was for Jose Altuve. And I was sitting next to this dude, and I'm like, I don't know why. I'm like, why is this guy getting booed so much? And then they're like, oh, the Houston Astros scandal. And I looked it up and was like, holy shit. But like, you know, stuff like that, you don't really hear through the TV, like a crazy, you know, like but when you're there, it's like, holy shit, like every single person in the stadium is booing this guy. Like, yep. And you pick up on stuff for sure. Like when there's like calls that people don't agree with, like the fans don't agree with. Yeah. There is so much, or even like foul balls too. Like, you know,
all of it. It's
there's
great,
a lot.
You know, San Francisco has some good hecklers too. There's some really funny people at the game sometimes. You know, it's great.
Yeah, there's tons of character. People watching it's amazing, and I think Eddie's kind of hit the nail on the head. There's been a lot of talk about this lately, and I kind of want to discuss it a little bit. Is that, do you want a sold out crowd of people that don't want to be there, or do you want 15,000 diehards that do want to be there and everybody's, you know, and like if it's sold out and the games are hard to get, the prices go up and your seats get worse. Like, I'm not saying I don't want a full house, but like there's something to be said about like going on a Tuesday night and just getting behind home plate for like $15, you know what I mean? And like having that, like you said, when you're below the pitch, like I've been in the Lexus seats where I'm lower than the actual pitch. So I'm looking up at the ball. That's fucked. Like when you get that view, you're like, dude, it's nuts. The ball's coming so much faster than when you're looking down on it. And like seeing like Rogers almost hit the ground with the sidewinder and the guys with the bat and how quick they have to react. Like the swing starts before the release of the ball, you know, it's like, it's nuts.
Yeah, man. But you go to like every game, right?
I go to just 50, about like 50 plus, like 55. I think there's 82 games. So I at least try to go to one of every series. Like I want to see every team for sure. But dude, if there's nothing to do, I'm 2 blocks away. So what else am I going to do? Like if there's, you know, especially on StubHub, when they're not selling well, you can get a ticket for $5 on a Tuesday night and then just get the cheap seat and then go sit anywhere. You saw where I was just underneath the overhang. I just like walk around and see, and I'm like, oh, I'll just cruise down there and sit there for a while.
Yeah. If I was 2 blocks from there, I would definitely be doing the same thing.
It's hard. Yeah. It'd be silly not.
And anything you do, it could be like some, because that's the thing about like baseball too, is it could be like the most epic game could be something that a matchup that people wouldn't think would be good. You know,
absolutely.
Like the Rockies or whatever. Like that's not gonna. I don't know. Anything could happen at any given time.
So when you finished the film, did the Giants like what happened? Like I know Jeremy maybe had an art show and you guys premiered it?
Yeah, we played it at his art show and then he put it on his Instagram.
But the Giants didn't really do anything with it?
Yeah, they didn't.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I guess they didn't have like a purpose for it, or maybe it was a little different than some of the other content, or
well, I mean, I don't know if anybody's watching right now, but the marketing for the Giants is probably the worst in the whole world. Like there's nothing like it 3 years in a row. I mean,
I know. I see on Reddit.
I behind the wheel over there. Fuck.
I know. I see on Reddit. I joined the Giants Reddit and I'll like check it during the season. Everyone's like, you know, like any negative thing that happens, they just attach the tagline. Like nothing like it.
People are angry. There's a lot of upset people, and I think, you know, it's funny because I'm like, these people are just going to be yelling no matter what. If they get this guy, they're pissed. If they don't get him, they're pissed. It's just like whatever happens. But yeah, some of the marketing stuff over there, I want to go over and have a sit down with whoever's like the head over there and be like, man, how much are you paying these guys? Because I think I could do better job and my job. Like I could do 2 jobs and still do better than.
Is it is like all MLB teams just kind of like corny marketing, or are there some that like kill it like harder than others? Like
there's some that keep it very simple and true to the brand, going back decades and decades and decades to their roots. And then there's other ones like San Francisco where they could do that, but they're trying to be more hip and up to date with their stuff, but it just falls really flat. Like if you're a hardcore baseball fan, it's like you want the authenticity. You don't want corny taglines and cheesy licensing art and all that, you know, and the league has to approve everything they do. Like all the licensed stuff, it all has to go through a whole, you know, they have an S&P for all that stuff, right? So I don't know, but
I think just trying to check like every possible box, right? Whereas like, you know what I mean? Like it's probably so hard to like do anything that is
that's the problem. I'm sure they have to go through 20 different people before it gets approved and all that kind of stuff.
Because it's corporate, man. Like it's not, I mean, like it's not like working at Deluxe. Like it's like very like regimented, like there's people are making real money. Like it's a business.
Right.
We had one of the operations managers on our show from Oracle Park, and he was kind of explaining that it's this 24-hour, 3 8-hour shifts of people at the ballpark going around the clock. Everything's totally regimented. It has to be perfect. Like they take it very seriously, you know. And you can tell when you go to the ballpark, like everything's pristine, clean, pretty, you know, it's nice, but that takes a lot of work to do that. Yeah. So it's very corporate, like you say. I mean, Deluxe even feels corporate to me the way it is now compared to when I worked there. Oh, for
sure, dude.
And, you know, on Egbert Street out in Hunters Point, and it's just this like basically condemned building that we were running everything out of. It was nuts, man. It was like the Wild West.
Dude, I've heard crazy stories. I was even like talking to these kids like generation younger than me and like just thinking about some crazy like skate related stories, and they were like, "What? You mean that actually happened?" And I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure the generation before me like way crazier shit happened than this, dude. Like it kind of changed, man. It's like but the I bet you that's what it is like you're just trying to please too many people. But I don't know, I still think like I think back like going to Fenway like when I was a kid, like I remember like that place was rowdy, man. Like it wasn't like, I don't know. I just wonder, like, is the soul of baseball really as pristine and like corporate as like these baseball teams want to pretend it is, or are people actually drawn to it for other reasons? Like, I don't know.
There's an example to be had in San Francisco. So when we had Candlestick Park, you know, up until the year 2000, Candlestick Park was filthy and run down, and the crowds were rowdy. People got horribly drunk and caused all kinds of problems. My dad used to take me to Half Price Night. We'd sit in the bleachers. It was like 75 cents or something, right? We're talking like early 70s. And all the bleachers was just drunk people fighting all night, the whole game, right? And this was back when they didn't cut off the alcohol sales at like the 6th inning or 7th inning. They sold beer all the way to the end of the game. So people were just loaded and just going ballistic. And it was like, it had those rough edges, you know, and there's a certain Bowery type appeal to that, which since they opened Oracle, it's definitely changed. You know, the atmosphere at the park has changed, and for the better. You know, it's not quite as out of hand as it used to be. People are a little better behaved, but like, some of those old ballparks in those other cities, like I know the Philly fans are just out of control still to this day. You know, they're not.
I had an idea for them that I never pitched, but I would like, when you go around there and talk to some of those fans, I'm like, you guys should tell stories about like generational Giants fans in the city. Like there's probably so many good stories and good characters. And maybe that would be something people would see, and there would be like some authenticity to it, like, you know, like some relatability. Like,
well, you know, they had the stadium over in Potrero Center, like where Safeway is. There was a stadium there, like before Candlestick.
Yeah,
the San Francisco Seals would play there.
The Seals Stadium, yeah,
and
there was Keys.
So there's a lot of history in the city about all the sports. It's been here. I mean, the Giants are the oldest team, I think.
They are the oldest major league franchise. Yeah.
Dude, and there's a lot of history within the there's so much stuff they could tap into. I mean, I feel like they probably do though, right? Like they make films about stuff that's already happened or different players.
They do. But just like everything else, people want to live in the now, and like especially like this era, it just feels like people, I don't know, it feels like businesses don't care about the core because they already have the core, so they're trying to appeal to the people they don't have. And I think that's where the core gets upset, because you're like, dude, you're florping this thing. What are you doing? They're like, well, we're trying to reach the appeal of all these people and bring in this whole new thing. And you're like, kind of liked it because it wasn't popular, but it's like, whatever.
Well, dude, I feel like so much of it, like advertising in general, it's like at a certain point, like it's just a bunch of bullshit. And I feel like people can kind of see through that. It's like, give us something real, give us something honest, and everything else, like when it's not that, it's pretty obvious. I feel like corporate America just shoves crap down everyone's throat that nobody gives a fuck about, to be honest with you. Like,
or they're trying to tap into cultural things that they aren't part of.
But you can tell when it's not genuine. You can tell when it's like forced or not coming from the right place. Right. I don't know. I just don't see how that's sustainable.
If there's one thing that I don't like about Oracle Park, it's the scoreboard. And the reason why I don't like the scoreboard is because there's just too much going on the scoreboard. Like I like the Fenway scoreboard. I like the Wrigley score. I like the old, I miss the old Longines clock at Candlestick. And
the Giants are promoting like exit velocity, like so many different things. And you're like, but where's the strikes, inning, and score? Where's the basics? You're like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what my dad said. He's like, I can't believe all this shit in the game right now. He's like, they got these closers coming out with a fucking light show. He's like, what do they got this pitch clock? This is bullshit.
The light show, the Giants light show was maybe one of the worst. Yeah. Like the lights weren't on the guy. It was like it was just bad. They got to scrap that.
The former Mets closer Diaz that had the Timmy trumpet. That was a pretty good walk on for a closer. But who was it? Was it the Padres closer who used to come out to like Hell's Bells? Trevor Hoffman?
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, they didn't have light shows, whatever. They just you just hear that bell. And he comes out from the bullpen looking like he's just going to murder everybody on the field. And it was the best, it didn't rely on any high tech pyrotechnics, special effects. It was just, the music was blasting and the guy came out just mean mugging everybody. It was cool, I mean,
underneath all the bullshit and the gloss and all the extra, like if, people are still there for these simple things like a home run, a base hit, a good strikeout.
100%.
That's what I think, but I mean, I'm not in charge of the Giants marketing.
We got to get a new person that is. Maybe there's no one in charge, and that's why it's just floundering.
But you guys, I wonder if the people that do it love it as much as you guys do. You know what I mean? Because you're almost like maybe you just need someone that to breathe some real passion into it, that, you know what I mean?
I think that they tend, because my friend's a photographer over there, and maybe that's different, but they definitely tend to not want an Uber fan working around the players, that it's gonna be like, oh my god, it's fucking, so I think there's a happy medium, but for marketing or something, it seems like you would definitely want passion and oh my god, I'm gonna look up so much historical stuff. And then I mean, there's so many ideas that could be reinvented modern style,
Dude, I just remembered I shot a project. These guys got the rights to make the Ricky Henderson documentary, and I filmed his memorial. I was dude, I was the only person that was able to film up close with the family, and dude, so many people.
How'd you get that?
These guys, a buddy of mine recommended me, and they're like, well, we're getting funding, we're gonna go film this thing. And dude, it was Jose Canseco is there, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr.,
Yeah,
Dave
yeah.
Winfield, Dennis Eckersley, like
Dusty Baker.
the Moneyball guy.
Yeah.
Billy Bean.
Even the A's owner, they interviewed him. We interviewed him.
God.
We intervied all these people. It was crazy, dude.
Dude, that's rad though.
Yeah, it was
that's
wild. I mean, I was just like fly on the wall, like filming it, but you just reminded me of it because you're talking about people like tripping out on, like fans tripping out on these guys. But those guys are so used to people like tripping out on them. Because like even Barry Bonds was just walking around and like I was like the director kept telling me like get closer. And I was like, am I gonna piss these guys off? But like, it's like you don't even exist. Like
with Barry, you never know, too.
Like they just have cameras in front of them maybe all the time. Like it's just no big deal. Like I don't know.
But at a memorial, it seems really awkward. Like cameras and faces, and people are sad. I mean, Ricky Henderson and Barry Bonds, two of the best players to ever play the game. Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah, I think they were because they had the family's permission, and the family wanted them there. You know what I mean? So we weren't like a nuisance. We weren't too excessive, but I just remember thinking, yeah, we're pretty close to these guys.
Did you ever figure out why I don't like the Dodgers so much? I remember you texting me going like, how come you hate the Dodgers?
Well, I get the rivalry. Like it's like why my mom hates the Yankees.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like at least the Dodgers players like are like pretty like Freddie Freeman's like, I mean, that guy's a great person. You know, Mookie is a great person. Shohei's a great person. I don't know. The Yankees back then had some real douches on there.
How do we know they're great persons?
Dude, did you see that little documentary about Freddie Freeman where like his mom passed away and like he played baseball and
yeah, but you know how they make movies, right? They edit.
Yeah. But like, dude, have you seen this? You think Shohei's a douche?
Yeah.
But dude,
his friend took a hit for him, so he didn't have to take.
Yeah,
dude, I got the free eBay shirt, man.
You think that it was? You think his money didn't just get taken advantage?
Come on, 16 million.
Ask yourself this, Jeremy.
I don't know
if $17.5 million went missing from your bank account in the year 2024, when everything is instantaneous alerts on your phone, like it makes no sense that his interpreter was fleecing him out of that much money.
But some of those athletes, like, they don't even pay attention to any of that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you think? I don't know.
I think what it is that Shohei is the golden child of the MLB right now. He's the most marketable. Everything about his image is squeaky clean. He's this great guy who came over from Japan. Like, how he can't possibly be a gambling. Of course he can.
Well, even if the MLB knew he was cheating, why the hell would they want him to be like banned from the league or like made? You know what I mean?
That's
like, imagine how much money that guy
That's
makes.
the point. He's a cash cow for the league.
Happened.
So they made his interpreter take the fall, and
I mean, he's avoiding California taxes too. It's like these.
I mean, the Dodgers, man, they're like, what are they? It's like they're buying rings.
They're trying to buy rings.
I mean, dude, because I look at who they're getting this year, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like, how many Hall of Famers do you think they have on their team? Like, is there any other team that has a roster that on paper is that good?
No.
But baseball doesn't work that way. You can't just go out and cherry pick and spend the most money and automatically guarantee that you're going to win a World Series, right?
There's too many variables.
Yeah, I mean, it worked a little differently back like in the 80s when the Yankees had their little dynasty where they were spending more money than God on all these players. The game was different back then. Now players are different. The way the game is played is the pace is like all these things that make it harder and harder to just buy it. In the NBA, it's way easier to buy it, I think, than in baseball.
There's so many. It's crazy because I feel like one little kind of screw coming loose could like fuck up your whole program in baseball. You know what I mean? Like,
like an injury can. I mean, if Ohtani gets hurt, all of a sudden that's a huge. Like, if Mookie Betts got hurt, that's a huge blow. A guy that plays on both sides of the. Shohei just sits on his butt when the.
But he's going to pitch this year, right?
Is he though? We'll see.
I heard in May.
He's been throwing in spring.
I hope he gets lit up. I hope he just gets lit up and then has to have another Tommy John surgery.
What do you think of Juan Soto's contract? Do you guys talk about that?
Well,
I mean, it's a lot of money, right? And I don't think that the Mets was the best destination for him. I don't think the Mets are going to necessarily go to the World Series anytime soon. Soto's a great player, but this is kind of the example of what we're just talking about. Like the Padres had Soto, Machado, Tatis, all these great players, but the chemistry was horrible and they were in the dugout not getting along. And that really messes things up. And people come to the stadium like not stoked or whatever. Like the camaraderie is a huge part of it, and like being like, on the same page. So Soto kind of seems like one of the biggest prima donnas in in all of baseball. So I think he's a tough guy to work with. Like, I can't even imagine what like some of the lesser players are like. Oh, can I even say hi to this guy? You know what I mean? It's
dude, for sure. Because that was like, I remember like they did that Red Sox documentary about the 2004 Red Sox, and that just came out, and those guys were like clowning around, like there was not really any egos. Like it's pretty hilarious some of the stories they were talking about. Like so it, like what did like Jason Varitek said he was like the team's captain, like the team's Tom Brady, and like so like David Ortiz or someone like went and actually got Tom Brady's jersey and put it in his locker. And they were like fucking with each other, and they had all these jokes, and like I don't know. I agree with you, because it's like I feel like that must be what it takes, because you just But even the Padres this last year, like were they almost? I thought they were going to kick the Dodgers' ass. Man.
They had it.
They had it. They were playing really well.
But that's like what you said, right? It can change on a dime. Like all of a sudden the momentum. Like one of the things that happened that people don't talk about in that series was the ball that got thrown in and came at Dave Roberts, and he said Machado threw a ball at him. It clearly wasn't the case, but it definitely seemed like it got the rev, like he sparked the dudes like, hey, fuck that, and got the like, and that could have been all it took to
I think that's what did it, dude, because they were kind of the Padres were kind of showy and like braggadocious, and then the Dodgers, I think like it like snapped them out of like a sleep, dude, and then they were like, oh shit,
the Padres got really confident in that series, and then that happened. I mean,
then their pitcher got hurt too. They lost Musgrove, and I think that was huge.
But you could go back to 2002, the Giants and Angels in the World Series, right? And the Giants are up. It's Game 6. It's looking like they're going to coast and get it. And dude, Dusty Baker comes out. He pulls Russ Ortiz from the game, and he hands him the game ball as he's walking off the field. And all the guys in the Angels dugout saw that, and they just saw red. They just started steaming. And then they came back in that game and won, and then they won Game 7 and beat the Giants out of the World Series. So yeah, it's like you're talking about Dodgers Padres, something that seemingly inconsequential sink the whole ship. Yeah.
Dude, I was blown away when the Yankees lost that. What was it, Game 5? When they lost this, I was watching that, and it was like a holy shit moment. Like, how did all these errors
got derailed? Yeah,
like those are like rare. A lot of those errors, like those players will rarely have that many of them in a whole season, right? Let alone like one inning at the most important game of your life.
Well, and fundamental plays too, like a routine fly ball,
not covering first base,
and I mean, really, like 5 unearned runs. You coughed up a 5-run lead with 2 outs. 5 unearned. That's got to be one of the most atrocious innings in the history of the game.
Well, what do you think would have happened if there was a Game 6?
It could have got nerve-wracking. Like, all I know is they did not want a Game 7.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been amazing, though. I wanted a Game 7. I was like,
I mean, probably everybody did,
let's go.
But the Dodgers.
It would have made the series better. I honestly thought that the Dodgers Padres and the Yankees Guardians series were much better than the World Series.
Yeah, no, it's totally.
Does it seem like Ohtani might have a monkey on his back? Like he didn't do well in the postseason, right?
Well, he got hurt.
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, when he was trying to steal.
Oh, he hurt
his
hand.
He
shoulder.
fucked up his shoulder.
That's right. But that was kind of later, right? Like he had already kind of
that's
striking
true.
out a bunch, not doing much. It's interesting. Like Barry Bonds was in the postseason a bunch, and he had this kind of aura or something like, oh, this guy can't do it in the postseason. Then he finally had a breakout thing. And some of these guys, like, it's amazing to me, like Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, arguably two of the best players of their era, were on the same team and never made a playoff game.
That is
so
crazy.
Those two guys were never in the postseason for the whole world to see.
Because there was nobody
insane.
Around them. They didn't have a team around
true.
them.
You need that unit. You need that. Yeah, I can't imagine how they go about making all those decisions, like especially with all the analytics too. Like how do they decide who to put on the team and what position to play and when to put them in, when to take them out? I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was the thing you were just doing with the All-Stars?
Oh, it was a Ricky Henderson documentary.
Oh, the thing that you had on your Instagram.
Oh, the one for the Jordan 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like the Nike did this release, or Deluxe Skate Shop did like an early release of the Jordan 4 SB for the All-Star
for the
weekend.
NBA,
yeah. And they made like a little edit with Rob Boots. If you know Rob Ripper. And yeah, we just made like a little edit skating around in the shoes.
Okay.
I don't know how anyone skates those shoes. Those things are like thick, man. They're like skating in boots.
Yeah.
People lose their mind for those, dude. They had like a line that's like 3 blocks.
They don't wear them though, right? They're like collectors.
Yeah, resellers. Or I don't know. People just get the bug and then they start stashing shoes. Yeah. I'm kind of a collector, but I collect. Yeah,
you collect shoes?
I collect New Balance shoes, dude. I gotta get down the fucking rabbit hole on shoes. So I get it when people.
McKenny collects half cabs. He's got like every colorway. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird little interests.
40. Look at this. 40 cabs.
40.
He's got 40 pairs of half cabs. Like from how? What's the oldest pair?
Yeah, what's your oldest pair, Tim? I think it's kind of modern. I think he just started doing it like probably a couple of years ago. Maybe COVID got him into it.
What about the old gray and black full cabs?
Yeah, I never had full cabs.
That's how half cabs became, because we used to cut the full cabs to half cabs and then tape them over. Yeah. And then I think Caballero was doing that, and Vans was like, "Oh, we should just make these,"
Dude, do you remember the Dr. T's, the Trujillo shoe that was, it kind of looked like almost, it was like higher than a half cab. Do you remember that Vans shoe? It's like a really kind of bulky
sounds
shoe.
Vaguely familiar. Yeah.
You kind of remind me of like.
And I got some. I'll be right back.
Damn. So do you guys watch all the spring training games too?
If we can get them, yeah. Like today, there was MLB was streaming the Padres telecast of the game.
Oh, sick!
So we got to watch that. Yeah.
Are those the Trujillo ones?
Yeah.
Nice.
But he's like he really played baseball, right?
Dude, I filmed him throwing the first pitch at the game.
Yeah.
Does he still watch?
We got his little league photo. We were making for all our guests on the first couple seasons of podcast, we'd ask them for like a little league photo from when they were a kid, and then we make a baseball card out of it. So on all the images have that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, sick. Oh no, I've seen those.
Yeah.
I think I saw it. Trujillo was on this podcast. I gotta listen to that one.
Yep.
Yeah, he his family he was like born like on a farm or something. Like he was up in Santa Rosa, like north of where you're at. And then I was like, dude, how'd you even get into skateboarding? Like he was building wooden things out on the dirt roads and shit.
Dude, it's crazy. I know we went to the same high school.
Oh, did you?
He went to Novato High.
Is that the one that has the flat bar coming out of the
It's got the double
hallway?
set under the overhang.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
Gons,
yeah,
does like the early grab
yeah.
down
I've
in
been to
real
that
real.
place a lot.
Yeah, man. So you guys must be fired up for this next season, huh?
Yeah.
It's the best time of the year. The days are getting longer, the weather's getting warmer, and baseball is like starting, so nobody's not in contention. I love this time of the year. You got the college March Madness. It just feels like there's a lot of energy in March and like
Yeah.
April, like getting like I think everybody's coming out of hibernation, like literally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of skaters are into baseball? Is it a small amount, you think?
I mean, it forever it was a faux pas. Like if you were into baseball, you kind of hit it because people talk
Any
shit on
sport.
jocks and all
Yeah,
that
any
stuff.
sport.
Yeah.
But now, like in now's era, like nobody talks shit anymore. Everything's accepted, and like it just seems like there's a lot of worse people skating than jocks nowadays. So it's like, who cares?
And you got all these pros that are throwing out the first pitch at all these games in all these different cities. There've been a whole bunch of them now.
Yeah.
So, and we were actually critiquing everybody's style, getting photos of it and looking at it. It's like Tony.
Some people don't even get on the mound.
Yeah,
They
some
just,
guys
like,
don't
they're-
even get on the mound.
It's like-
Like Tony towed the rubber and he threw a real pitch, right? And there's been like a handful of guys that do it that way, but a lot of guys it's just shabby.
So you think people hit it though? Like pro skaters be like, if they like baseball, they're like watching it with no one around them.
I guess you'd have to ask each person individually and find out. I'm sure
Yeah.
Tony was stoked when he did it. He said he took it real seriously. Like he didn't want to blow it. He wanted to throw a good pitch and get it over the plate, throw a strike. Like he was practicing for it. So
I mean, it makes sense. How often are you going to get to do that?
yeah,
I'm just thinking more like mid 90s, was more like it was like skate punks, fuck jocks,
Oh, going.
I mean, it was
back
kind
to
of
the
even like that
80s.
from
Yeah, go back a long ways. It was like that. It's like,
well, he doesn't go a long ways.
I know, but
He was born in like 93 or something.
94.
Oh,
But
man.
I don't know. These people I grew up skating with, none of them were really playing sports.
Yeah. But like everybody emulates them, right? Like Jake Donnelly, all these dudes, they wear the basketball shorts and like
some of the guys did.
Like Rob Welsh, all the Pier 7 guys had the like sweats and like a lot of tracksuits and all that stuff. But it's like interesting, like, oh, but then I think what happened was people started training for like it got serious. You got Nyjah and all these dudes, they're training, and then they're training with people that train like other athletes, and then X Games, and then you're just kind of meshing with all these people, and you're just like, oh, we're kind of all athletes. Like, I don't know. Like it seems like it just kind of got like soupy.
Well, dude, it's interesting because I feel like, I mean, I guess in baseball, like style matters like to an extent, right? But like if you get a home run, you get a home run, like regardless if you look cool doing it or not. But don't you think in skating, like there'll be clips I see on Instagram of like the most insane shit ever, and I just don't care like at all.
Styles everything in skateboarding.
You know what I mean? And then someone will do like, like a certain skater will do like a simple trick, and you're like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like how you do it is like just as important or more important than what you do in skating. Kind of.
It's you know what it is because there was a time when there was only style. Like there weren't tricks, there weren't all these things. It was basically how good you could make it look. The tricks came later. It all comes out of that surf. There was like this whole evolution of it where there's certain guys that have the best style, like Dennis. Dennis his style is epic in the streets. Skates fast. He skates a little bit like Julian, and when Julian was in his prime, except faster, like and more technical. But it's the same vibe. The style's there. So like you see guys with good style. You're like,
and I feel like none of them are trying to have style. You know what I mean? Like
it's
like,
just what it is.
It is what it is because you can tell when people have fake style. Like you could just tell. Like you I don't know. At least with skating, like you kind of least for like some of those guys that are like the greatest, like you're kind of just born with it, you know, at a certain point.
Are you still skating a bunch?
Dude, I haven't, not as much as I was. I'm hoping when they get this park built, I'm gonna go over there, bring the dog over there and go skate.
Have they broke the ground?
No, they need to. I was also thinking about building something in my backyard. I was like,
there you go.
Well, if you want to do that, hit me up and maybe we can get the DIY guys over there and do it. Like,
oh, one of those, that dude, I would be down. Hey, I would just be like, build whatever the hell you want.
Let's do this.
Do whatever you want.
Did you buy your place?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
You could build something. I got a little space. I want to build like a little pond.
Like a little bowl.
Like just a really strange,
that you can put water
pond.
in and sometimes and have fish and then drain it and skate other times.
I think it'd be sick to have something that like you're like, is that for skating or is that just like a sculpture? I don't know. Something strange, like just a little miniature pond, skatable pond with like landscaping, or I don't know. I feel like you could do some weird shit.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We should do this. We got to make 4 episodes this year. We just got renewed the contract.
Is that with Camfoosh?
Yeah.
Dude, I like those videos.
We're gonna do the first one up in Santa Rosa at Trujillo's DIY spot.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. And then all the like it actually stays there. It's not like they built it and it's just gone.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like giving back to.
It was crazy. The first one we did was at Barrier by Deluxe. That's like at that little cafe.
Yeah, yeah.
And they finally tore that whole thing out, which was crazy because that thing was there forever.
Yeah, that was a cool little spot. It had like the ledges there too, and the people would skate them like mani pads.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys think like, I don't know, at least like do you think like when you look back at how the skate industry was, or like skateboarding was like when you got into it versus like how it is now? Do you ever think about like it being a lot different, or do you ever like reflect on that?
Every morning I drive into this parking lot and the owner of the place I work for is dead. The editor of that place is dead. All my guys that I worked with are dead. So I think about it a lot every day. It's a lot different.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like skateboarding went fucking cuckoo when like 5 years ago or something, like right before COVID or right at COVID, it just went banana cakes. The whole world did, it's a reflection of the world, but it's just like, as people that have done it for so long, like I've worked there almost 30 years. I've skated my probably 45 years or something now. It's just kind of hard. Like a lot of things that when you're young, you kind of don't like about what older people say and do. You start to kind of realize where they were coming from when you get to their age, like you never want to be back in my day. It was like this and that and this, but things that you see, like, it's just like anything else. Like the newer people have to pay and they need to like pay respect to the people that made this thing attractive to them to want to even be a part of it, right? So there's that initiation thing that comes from like Hell's Angels mentality or whatever, like pay your dues type shit. But when it becomes soft and then it's like everybody's just like, you can't say this, you can't do that. It's like, dude, this is skateboarding. This is like not fucking Disneyland. And
like cancel culture kind of took over.
It was interesting. And then, now it seems like the pendulum's swinging the other way. Like we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, because it's not doing well, right? The skate industry's like in the shitter right now.
It's been tough. I mean, COVID really screwed things up because of the supply chain issues. That was a huge deal because it was like suddenly there was a glue shortage and then there was a wood shortage and then there was an aluminum and it all hit the skateboard industry really hard. And then because I've been around it my whole life, I started in the mid 70s, and then worked in the industry and was around it and skated contests and all that stuff. And to see all these things change, I mean, it's like skateboards always stayed around the same price for decades.
Yeah.
The price never went up. And I would talk to Thebo about this sometimes and be like, dude, like you realize the price of everything never changes, the retail price, which is great because it makes it accessible to a far wider group of kids than like snowboarding, which is super expensive, right? But the problem is the companies put themselves behind the 8 ball by not doing incremental small price increases. And then just this last year, everybody had to boost the price up because it was just getting to where they weren't even making enough money to pay the people they had to make the stuff. So when they started increasing the prices, then all the shops and everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, how come it went up $10? Well, because it hasn't gone up $10 for 25 years. That's why.
And get ready for the tariffs to make it go up even more.
Do you think people are kind of stressing all this stuff?
Big time.
I'm not.
Well, you don't own any company.
No,
there's a lot of skate companies that are tripping right now.
This is like, I just came from like 5 weeks at my mom's house where she never turns MSNBC off. So like the gaslighting propaganda machine is just functioning at radioactive levels. But like I told her, I'm like, look, you're 81 years old. You live in this beautiful house out near Occidental in the woods. It's quiet. I said, like, your way of living, your way of life and your style of life and everything has not changed in the 16 years that you lived here, except for my dad passing away. Right. So like you freak out about all this shit going on in Washington, DC and all these places, but like it doesn't affect you, not in the way that you need to be this wound up about it. Right. So like
that's how they design it, man. Like
they want
MSNBC. It's like pick your poison. You get
all of that media. It doesn't matter what channel. They're just doing this to you all day, man. I don't pay any attention to that shit.
It's hard to know what's true, what's
right.
Not,
exactly.
What you're. Yeah. You look at who's paying for a lot of these companies, like a lot of these networks, and you look at like. Their biggest ad revenue coming from like pharmaceutical companies and other weird places. And you just wonder like, well, is this really not controlled in any way, shape or form?
It's like ESPN, like advertising gambling and then banning dudes for gambling. It's like, what the, it's like
brought to you by DraftKings.
Yeah. It's crazy.
This hearing on steroids brought to you by GlaxoSmithKline.
So do you think like the skate industry is going to change big time, like after all this, or is it like?
Okay, so
I think it has ebbs and flows, like regardless.
If you go back a long ways, the industry and skateboarding in and of itself have gone through these cycles up and down, and a lot of it I used to think was based around demographics and aging, so that a new crop of kids would come in and skateboarding would get hot and every kid would be doing it and whatever. And then these kids hit 15, 16, 17 years old. They discover other stuff. They get a car, they get video games, they discover girls, drugs, whatever it is. And a lot of them fall off and this little hot core is left behind. And then a couple years later, something like the X Games comes along and then it brings all these new people into it. And then they age out. And it's just kind of done that like for years. It's like a weird intergenerational thing, but I think the industry will probably shrink down again, and that's not an unhealthy thing because every time it gets big, tons of people try to cash in and it gets too big and then it has to shrink back down.
Yeah, that's a trip to think about.
Yeah.
Well, we're winding down, and I did want to show a little bit of the film you made, "Loyal to the Soil." We got a little teaser right here for everybody to check out, and you can go to jeremymcnamara.com. It's in the write up in the description. You can follow him on Instagram, see what he's up to, and see he's got a ton of work he's done. If you like skateboarding, if you like, he's doing a lot of cool stuff. He's the guy that's like at the photo's awesome. He's at the game and he's got the harness and everything. It's just like amazing. But let's take a look.
Cameras are too heavy, man.
Let's take a look at this.
Baseball is our blood. If you cut me right now, you bleed black and orange right out of this arm right here. It is a great game. It's America's game.
Come on, man! Porque somos gigantes. Come on, man! I was born in the motherfucking San Francisco. El Vicio, you feel me? We the heart of the city.
I wanted people to come together over a mutual love of this place, and I already had a deeper appreciation for this place. And I had never thought about baseball like that before.
They're part of my life since I was 4 years old, which 61 years. 61 years of my life.
He's here with his 2 sons that mean the same thing to him.
See? I pass it down to my sons. I pass it down.
Yeah, boy! MLB!
I love that. MLB. Dude, nice work with that, really,
Thanks,
man.
man.
It looked great. Came out good.
Appreciate it, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me on here and talking baseball. And
yeah, thanks for coming on last minute too. It's like,
dude, for sure.
This morning I was like, oh, because we'd been talking about it kind of off and on. I was like, want to come on tonight?
Yeah. Well, now I'm like even thinking more about baseball. I'm like, because March 18th and 19th is like the opening day in Japan, right? Cubs.
Oh, I don't know.
The 18th and the 19th.
Oh, yeah.
In Japan.
Dodgers.
Oh,
Did
Schmitty
pitch you on our fantasy league?
No.
Do we still have spaces, or did it fill up?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Dude, fantasy baseball, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know enough. I'm like, dude, you guys, I'm like, I don't know if I'm on that level. I need like another 5 years watching.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, anybody out there that's watching, we have one spot left for our fantasy baseball league. It's a $20 entry fee, and there's 3 winners at the end. Third place gets your $20 back. Second place gets like 60, and first place gets 120. So it's pretty cool, and it keeps you involved with the sport that we all love all year. If you're interested, email me skatesatbase@gmail.com. skatesonbase@gmail.com. Well, Jeremy, thank you.
Yeah, dude, thank you guys. It's cool.
I don't know. You know who Screaming Lord Salva is, right?
Yeah.
You know what he says? You know what he says?
Fuck the Dodgers.
Wait, isn't he from? What is he, like an Angel?
Fuck the Dodgers.
He's from Anaheim.
So he's
not from Anaheim, but he likes the Angels. His son, you know his son, right? Jesse Alba.
I know. I think I've seen him he's a ripper, right?
Yeah, he's a Dodger fan. His dad is the Angels fan, so it's funny. Yeah, they're good people.
Go, fuck the Dodgers.
What's up with Jeremy Tuffley? You talked to him lately?
Dude, Tuffley. You know what? I saw him maybe a month ago. His grandma lives in Petaluma, and he came by.
Oh.
He's looking at this little shed that I built.
Does he still have his mobile?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's building. He builds mobile saunas and.
What a rad guy that dude is.
Dude, he's like a master craftsman.
He was staying at the Goat Bowl for a while, so when we go up there, I'd talk to him, and he was building the whole thing. And where'd he take it? Up north, like Portland?
Yeah, up north. He lives in Oregon.
Okay.
Like in Portland, but yeah, he's a master craftsman. Takes a special temperament and mind to be able to do that shit like that, man.
Patience, yeah.
It's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool, man. Chime in anytime. I like when you text me in the middle of games going like, ooh!
I'm gonna for sure, because I know I'm gonna be watching a bunch. I'll for sure hit you up and kind of pick your brain.
Hell yeah. And keep me posted on anything that's going on with you. I'll talk to you later and see if maybe we can do some DIY thing if you're interested in it.
Dude, I'm super down. If there's we're super down for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got, right, Christian?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Uncouth in the South.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel, YouTube, WeTube, and we out.
Later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Skaters on Baseball. If you liked what you heard, please spread the word, give us a good review, or hell, blow us up on your social media if you're down. Follow us at Skates on Base on Instagram for baseball news and other fun stuff. We love comments and listener participation, so bring it with an audio clip or an email. You can email us at skatersonbase@gmail.com. We're everywhere you get your podcasts, and we'll be here all season long.
Let's go, San Francisco. Let's go, Giants.
I'm excited to give everything that I have for these next 6 seasons and, see where it takes us.
Adios, Pelota!
See you soon. Thank you.
And I am forever a Giant.